office and in our meeting time. So everybody kind of knows we've been through it, and I think everybody's done a good job.
Thank you.
You've had a lot of really good linebackers the last couple of years. What does your linebacker room look like this upcoming fall?
Well, you look at Cam and Jaden, they're the two inside guys that are really doing a great job. And Derek Weisskopf, he's done a good job over there. And, Seth does a great job with those guys, and they've been well schooled. And, when you bring them in as freshmen and they start growing a little bit, they understand how the other guys did it, and they see, and now it's their turn. And I think they've been really well connected and taking charge of our defense right now.
And Cam, I believe, is one of those 8-man football guys. 8-man is obviously very popular in the state of Iowa. How do you go about in the recruiting process when watching 8-man football and translating that then to the Division I Big Ten level?
Well, usually when you look for football players, and as a linebacker, you got to make sure you find the ball and can you tackle. And it's about leveraging and just the size. I mean, he's a big kid for an inside linebacker. So I think you look at football where you got 8, they have 8, they got 11, they got 11. Sometimes, hopefully, we're not playing with more, but he's done a great job, and he's learning every day, and he's taking the leadership role on it.
And this is a lot of younger guys coming into. You mentioned a lot of transfers. Have there been any of the younger freshman, sophomore guys that have stood out to you so far, getting ready for the season?
Well, so far right now, Tyler Brown is kind of on his way over there. Hopefully we can get him back soon enough, but he looked in the springtime as he was going to be our starter at strong safety. And, I think Anthony's done a good job. He's been going in between free and strong. So there's a couple guys that are from the portal that's really helping us, but I think also the younger guys like Jalen Watson and you talk about Godfrey, these guys are growing. And Wallace, Jacob Wallace, he's done a great job. So I think the core of the guys we have, you got 6, 7 guys that can play multiple positions, which is good. And then the other guys you kind of bring along a little bit to give you more depth. And I think everything's working good right now.
We've heard that the defensive line has, just a bunch of guys that can rotate through. Has that number kind of been narrowed down for, guys that you think are going to be in the main rotation there?
Well, I think, even the last couple of years that we've always been here is, you have to rotate at least 8 to 9 guys. And I think, obviously we're trying to figure out who the first 4 guys that are going to be in the lineup and the next 4. And can they jump inside or can they jump outside? But, you like to have 8 to 10 guys in there to rotate. And I think that's what you need to do with defensive linemen, how fast the pace is with the offenses now, that you got to keep them fresh.
What's it like to work with another Epinesa?
Yes, he's interesting. It's very similar. He's a very talented guy, and and he understands it. And I think his brother, I'm sure, talks to him a little bit and understands what he has to do and how he went about the process. So I'm sure that helped him. But it's nice to have him out there. I think he's done a good job, and he's going against one of the top offensive lines in the country. So I think you start going to doing that. I think that helps him even more.
How often do you practice tackling, and can you in preseason camp?
Well, we practice tackling. We try to do that every day, the fundamentals of tackling. But for a live situation, it's very complicated in how we want to do that. We like to make sure that if we are doing something live, we might do it with the younger groups. But right now, we haven't done anything live. And we try to maybe get 1 or 2 periods on Saturday. And we'll do a live tackle drill. It might be with the 2s and 3s, but I think we'll probably hold off a little bit on the 1s.
Cam is a very quiet guy, but he's on the leadership council this year. How have you seen